Of course, predictably, Peter Dutton and the Liberals had the perfect explanation for why inflation was spiralling out of control this year.
The Prime Minister's obsession with the voice means that he's taken his eye off the ball when it comes to economic policy, and that's why you're paying more for your mortgage.
While you're jacking up spending on a referendum which keeps inflation higher.
Prime Minister has had to expend his time on defending the voice and trying to win the voice rather than winning back money back into Australian families' wallets.
That's why my mortgage kept going up. The Indigenous Voice to Parliament referendum. Which brings me to one of the biggest news stories of the year, which Barnaby Joyce summed up like this.
In my areas, it was like having a referendum about how your marriage is going. No one wanted to talk about it.
Wow, Barnaby doesn't like talking about his marriage. What a surprise. And sorry, I keep referring to it as the Indigenous Voice to Parliament, but according to Peter Dutton, it should be called by another name.
We don't support the Prime Minister's divisive Canberra voice. The Prime Minister's divisive Canberra voice, no to the Prime Minister's Canberra voice.
Yes, that's right, stupid me. It's not the Indigenous Voice to Parliament, it's the Prime Minister's divisive voice. Because I'm sure we all remember back in 2017 at Uluru when 250 different Anthony Albaneses gathered around to write the Anthony Albanese Statement from the Heart, hoping to enshrine Anthony Albanese's voice in the Constitution so Anthony Albanese can have more of a say in improving the lives of Anthony Albaneses everywhere. And on that referendum, wasn't Anthony Albanese a picture of confidence from day one?
Getting constitutional change in Australia is a difficult thing to do, and it's hard to win a referendum.
All right, then, if it's so hard for a referendum to pass, why even put the voice to a referendum? And what good is the voice going to do anyway?
Of course, voting yes won't fix everything overnight.
Well, that's not going to encourage anyone to vote for it. Who will it help at least?
The truth is that for most people watching this, it will have no direct impact on their lives.
What a selling point. Albo was such a bad salesman for the yes side, he couldn't even spell it.
A simple word.
How do you spell yes?
Y-E-yes.
And then when he tried soaring rhetoric, it flew about as high as a flightless bird.
We rise to the moment, like the kangaroo and the emu on our coat of arms. They never go backwards, they just go forwards.
Yes, and we also eat them on pizza without even thinking about it. What's your point? Although Albanese wasn't that convincing for the yes side, the no side's talking points are even more incomprehensible, like this one from Shadow Indigenous Affairs Minister Jacinta Napajimpa-Price.
Do you believe the history of colonisation continues to have an impact on some Indigenous Australians?
No. I'll be honest with you, no, I don't think so. Positive impact, absolutely. I mean, now we've got running water.
Yes, running water's so good that the government still has to spend millions of dollars just to make some of it drinkable.
$150 million will go towards getting clean water into remote communities.
For them to actually have access to drinking water would be great.
While Michaelia Cash was against the voice because, heaven forbid, Indigenous people might finally have some influence over highly important matters.
Representations, as you said, on any policy that affects them, which is anything from submarines, as it's been said, through to parking tickets.
Yes, because we all know the federal government definitely has ultimate control over parking tickets. That's why Tony Abbott kept getting them. And then making things even more confusing, the coalition argued that instead of an Indigenous voice to Parliament, what was needed was the voice of Indigenous people to be heard by Parliament. Completely different.
I support voices from regional and remote communities to be heard in Canberra.
But I believe very strongly that listening to local and regional voices, which is what the Liberal Party is doing, is an attempt to make sure that we unite our country.
We don't need a voice, we need ears. We need our leadership to have to use their ears and to listen to community.
That's the issue. We should be listening to what people are saying on the ground.
But in the end, it was one simple catchphrase from the No campaign that got the no vote across the line.
If you don't know, vote no.
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 Rookie mistake by the Yes campaign, not launching with the slogan, if you don't know, vote yes. That would have won it for them for sure. And at the end of the day, Albanese was undone by his own naivety.
I have faith in the Australian people.
Whew, big mistake. That's your problem right there. Having faith in the Australian people? I mean, did you hear what actual voters had to say on the day?
To be honest, I just want to get my name crossed off.
Decide when I get in there.
I haven't really researched into it.
Well, I think it's a land grab by the UN.
I haven't heard much information about it.